We're at a garage and test facility. Let's see what we're rolling out today. A 2022 Toyota Camry, but this one's a bit different than the typical one you see on the dealer's lot. It has the TRD, that's Toyota Racing Development, Performance Package. So what are you getting for that package? We'll get the TRD emblem on the back. We already saw the front air dam on the front as well with black trim. More black trim on the sides, the mirrors, and the roof. This rear wing on the trunk deck. We got TRD March light alloy wheels with performance 230/40 tires on 19-inch rims. 2 piston brakes. And the suspension's been lowered 0.6 inches with stiffer springs, 44% and 67% stronger. Stabilizer bars. Front and rear chassis brakes for that tight cornering you're going to be doing. In the TRD Performance dual exhaust, one on each side. Did we forget the TRD carpeting on the floor and TRD seats? Aside from the exhaust, there's nothing been done to this motor. The same 3.5 liter V6 used in other Camrys, putting out 301 horsepower. And there's nothing real to complain about. I mean, so equipped, this vehicle is reasonably brisk. Getting 0 to 60 in just under 6 seconds. 5.8 was the last figure I saw. It's hooked to an 8-speed automatic transmission, fuel economy 22 to 31 mpg, 25 overall is what's claimed. We'll take it out and see what it really is. And the TRD package includes a lot of luxury items for the cabin that are too long to list here. In any case, here's the base price with a few options. And the total tab. And in my case, they even gave me a TRD Pro hat to wear. Yahoo! By the way, we're not going to cover the entire Camry in this video. That's been done in lots and lots of other videos and tests. We're just going to cover what the TRD package is like. And 2 things we wanted to check. First of all, is there a spare tire? Yes, there's a compact under there, but one thing I like is this heavy-duty rubber mat they gave us. It goes on top of the TRD carpeting. Gear isn't going to slide around on this. A very good option to get. If you're paying to the option sheet I showed you, this is $259 extra, but if you're hauling cargo, probably well worth it. Like we do in all of our videos, we'll be taking this out in the dark to see how the headlights work, among other things. Part 3 of the video, so don't go away. Or fast forward directly to the headlight test, if that's what you're here for. Okay, let's do some driving. You've got Eco, Normal, and Sport modes. And if you want to shift manually, paddle shifter's on the steering wheel. You can also shift manually with the stick here. Just shove it over to the left, and there you go. 3 modes of operation: automatic, shift with the stick, and shift with the paddle shifters. Your choice. And our fuel economy in city driving is at 21.1 thus far, and 103 degrees this morning. Well, this afternoon. A little warm out there. And I don't know if you noticed the rad gauges. I think that's exclusive to the TRD. I'm not sure. I haven't had a regular Camry in a while. Now getting to the power steering, it doesn't have much feel being electric, but it's quick and responsive, and that's what we want. So I think most people will be happy with it. So the big question with this racing lowered suspension, how's the ride quality? Let's take some speed humps at 15 miles per hour, maybe 20, and see what happens. Here comes bump number 1. Heard some thumping on the front, didn't feel too much. Here comes bump number 2. Again, heard some thumping but didn't feel it. And here's the big nasty bump. Yeah, I felt that one a little bit. Nothing serious. Even though you might feel the potholes and bumps on the street, otherwise it's reasonably comfortable. I haven't found anything to complain about as far as ride quality yet. And it would have been nice to have a turbocharger on this V6 for more acceleration, but this base engine does pretty good without it. Definitely not a dog. Pretty good brakes too. Alright, we're going to take this vehicle on a short highway trip, see what type of fuel economy we get. Supposedly we're looking at 31 mpg. We'll find out soon enough. With the lower suspension and stiffer springs, the stability of this Camry is excellent. Isn't affected by crosswinds at all. Very, very stable. Definitely better than the standard suspension if that's what you're looking for. I'm not a fan of that TRD exhaust sound. It sounds more like a cross between a UPS truck and a vacuum cleaner. Kind of annoying for me, but after a while you do get used to it. And other people seem to like it, so I guess you listen to it yourself and see what you think. I was expecting a lot more road noise with this lowered suspension on the pavement, but unless you're on really rough roads, it's not that bad. Okay, 28.6, our official figure. Ooh, 28.5, sorry. Okay, the suspension is designed for taking corners, so let's take some corners. Be a little bit easier if the steering had a closer, or should I say faster ratio, but it will do. And so roads like this, where the paddle shifters on the steering wheel come in handy for choosing gears manually. It's handy to have them on the steering wheel. They can always be reached in corners versus the steering column like the Italians do that can't be reached in corners, only a straight line, which is a stupid place to put them. They belong on the steering wheel, always. And thank you for Toyota for putting them there. If you don't like shifting for yourself, putting the transmission in drive and the button in sport mode does a pretty good job of shifting for you. I have it in sport mode automatic right now. It's doing about as good as the manual paddle shifters did. Yes, this car definitely likes taking corners, and the brakes are working just fine. No fade yet. Bottom line, this car handles like a champ. The suspension does exactly what it was designed to do. And these brakes are doing a great job of stopping the vehicle and haven't faded yet. As far as engine power goes, hey, it'd be nice to have a turbo, but 301 horsepower is more than enough. Moving along just fine. Time to stop at the local watering hole. Well, these two piston brakes did a fantastic job of stopping the vehicle, and they didn't fade once, but they are smoking hot. I can smell it all the way from over here, so time to let them cool off and head back to town. Especially since it looks like they had a lynching today. Some guy who couldn't pay his bill after having a couple of beers. He's just hanging around for our amusement. So what's my take on this Camry TRD after a week of driving? Well, if you're looking for a Camry for daily transportation, this is probably just more car than you need. On the other hand, let's say you're in the market for a performance Toyota. You went down and looked at the Toyota 86 sports car or the super sports car, but there just isn't enough room in those. In terms of acceleration and handling, this TRD Camry totally outperforms the Toyota 86. It is more on par with the Toyota Supra with the 4-cylinder engine. Not the 6, the 4-cylinder engine. Two different cars there. And the difference is the Camry is about $8,000 cheaper than a 4-cylinder Supra, and you have all this room. might be a better buy for you. If I was going to buy a Camry, this would certainly be my choice. Okay, it's dark enough. Let's see what these headlights are doing, and right now I have it on low beam. Only see one bulb in the socket, so let's see what happens when I turn on the brights. Well, definitely brighter. I can't see where that extra bulb is, but I guess it doesn't matter. It's bright enough, right? And here's what the taillights look like. Really, not much going on here. And turning on the engine didn't make it any brighter. And here's the emergency lights on. On the outside mirrors too. Now with the headlights off, a bit easier to see. Same here. And here's the turn signal lights. So what does this do? Apparently nothing. I guess this is just the housing for the reverse lights when you put the gear in reverse. Okay. Since we have the gear in reverse, here's what the picture looks like. There's a lot of flickering on my camera. I don't know if you see it on your end, but pretty clear in person. And what's this button do? Wide angle. I notice we have red dials on the TRD car. I don't know if that's standard on all Camrys now. It certainly looks good on this one. Otherwise, not much to light up in here, aside from the shifter. And here we have the low beam setting on a wall 33 yards away or 100 feet, and slightly above the top of the bushes. That's lower than I would like, but at least it's super bright. Go to high beam. Definitely bright in the middle. Not much spread. We'll be taking these out in the open road in a few minutes to see how this really works, so don't go away. Okay, low beam. Looks good thus far out in the street. One thing I like about this Toyota, if you don't want any interior lights when you open the door, there's a simple switch that disconnects that. There, lights out. If you watch my video, there's one accessory I do not like to have on my vehicle, and that's an auto-dimming mirror. I cannot stand those things, especially if they don't have a disconnect switch, but this is a totally manual system. Normal view and manual dim, your choice, flick of a switch. That's the way they all should be in my book, but they're not. But I'm happy that's the way it is here. Thank you, Toyota. Plus, if it breaks, it's not that expensive to replace. On some auto-dimming mirrors, I've had to replace the price on like around $500. Yipe. Simplicity. And on the highway, these lights definitely do a good job of lighting up the street signs down the way. Okay, we're out in the country. Let's see how these lights work. If you're going to have a vehicle that takes corners in a tight hurry, you're going to need some good headlights, especially out here where there's a lot of wildlife. I don't mind hitting a mountain lion, but a skunk, that's a different story. That isn't very pleasant. And you can see when I enter dips, we do have a lot of cutoff. I don't particularly like that. That's why on roads like this, you'll be using your brights more often. And here's another example of how the low beams kind of disappear in pavement. High beam, low beam. Good bright lights on low beam, but just doesn't have enough reach for me. Again, on back roads like this, high beam's the only way to go. This is the local jail, and if I can light up the sign on top of the cage, it means our high beam passed. There you go. That's where they throw people when they can't pay their dinner bill or get caught speeding. Not a place to be at night because the rattlesnakes are out this evening. was a nice little night drive. The end of our headlight test. Time to go back into town because the rattlesnakes are coming out. A few bats swarming over my head as well. And I don't want to be a vampire. So back to town we go. It's hard to believe a taillight assembly that's so large could put out an amount of light that's so small, but well, you saw it yourself. Just the way it is. Nothing serious, just kind of weird.